Our panel started from noting that even non-major shocks in the Sahel lead to significant suffering for a lot of people. And therefore, the emphasis was not just on addressing shocks, but the stressors that are there every day and that are undermining the livelihood of people. So drought triggers and is linked to many of those stressors. So it's just not dealing with shocks and drought, but dealing with the stresses in the longer run. And the bottom line they figured out is achieving ecological equilibrium, in their words, not just resource conservation, as we tend to talk about, but resource regeneration, so that we can deal with many of those stressors. They address three categories of what's, not just what we need to do now, but what we need to do in the future and better, as we're told to do. The first one is there need to be a focus on helping people build their own resilience. It's at that level. Access to water was emphasized by all of the presenters. Not just its access, but its sustainable management. The other areas where there's a lot that needs to be done is to create markers that link the vulnerable people and create the condition to value chains and create the conditions for creating asset and wealth and therefore reducing vulnerability. And a third area that they emphasize as well is how to get adaptive technologies and services for vulnerable farm households, in particular women farmers and vulnerable farmers in general. So water is the key issue when we're dealing with droughts, but water along with other markets and the technologies, all of that we do know. That's why in the what and what they need to do, they came to a second argument is that we don't need less government, but we do need better government. A government that equipped the vulnerable people to raise productivity and reduce their vulnerability to the stressors and the shocks. What also includes collective actions in the region. At the multi-country intervention, they talks about policies and plans that are already in place. West Africa has been very proactive at the level of ECOWAS. We know that SEAL since the 40s has been working on that. Now it embraces all 17 countries of West Africa. Chad is added to it, and Mauritania. They have a mechanism for the prevention and management of emergencies, including an early warning system, triggers for action, and coordination mechanism to work. They did highlight a new major initiative, Agir, which is a broad partnership across West Africa, which going forward is going to be addressing not just the shocks, but also the stressors. They did highlight, however, issues with coordination and transaction costs that need to be improved. Finally, what do we need to do differently going forward? As I said, deal with the stressors, not just with the shocks. Have a greater focus on gender and the urban poor, which is an emerging class of vulnerable people. Spread good practices through scaling up, and they highlighted two examples in water management, water harvesting and management that allows people to have longer access to water and higher productivity. They talked about nutrition, industrial fortification, homestead food production, and how it could be scaled up to help also deal with the effects of stressors while we are anticipating the next shock.